video going with this. But before you finish that sentence, I'll explain. So the terms overrated and underrated have been put into question lately. You can thank some easily hurt people for that. As for why they're questioned, the terms are very objective, so people will take things under these titles as fact rather than opinion. While you can make semi-factual videos with overrated, underrated is an extremely hard topic to gauge. So instead, this is my top 10 games I like but no one else does, or as I call them, GILBNOEDs. Okay, now that makes sense. So how I'm rating these games is by how much I like them compared to the rest of the gaming community, be it by obscurity, low ratings, or people just downright hating them. With all that said, let's get rolling. I like the way Rabbid Luigi described this.
Right, which pillock said that the DS Zelda games were rubbish? You're wrong, fool. You're so wrong.
Yeah, number 10 is a game in the Zelda franchise. Which is it? Phantom Hourglass. Out of every Zelda game I've played, this is some of the most fun I've had. Rather than the puzzles being generic and even sometimes irritating, they're usually just fun little brain ticklers. Bosses all feel satisfying because you're in the action doing the swordplay. The characters are memorable with special mention going to Linebeck. The graphics are some of the best on the system, and you can take this game anywhere. These are the reasons I find it so surprising that it's treated like a black sheep. And not in a good way either. Sure, the Temple of the Ocean King can be annoying, but every time you return there's a new treasure and new tactics to go through faster. And if you're like me, you find speedrunning old areas that gave you trouble satisfying as all get out. There are some things I do find kind of meh with this game. For one, you can't refight any bosses. This sucks a lot because you can't replay Eox, Dongo Rongo, or any of the other cool bosses in the game. The other beef I have with it is that there's not much music that stands out. Other than that, I am beefless. It's an overall solid game. Something that really saddens me is the current state of the Mega Man franchise. Everyone has lost hope and thinks it's dying, and the incredibly overrated Mega Man 2 is overshadowing every other game in the series. The same thing goes for X1 and its respective series. I mean, sure, X1 is great, but X3 is way better. The reason I picked this one out of the bunch is because it's my personal favorite. I love X4 and its hate cannot be ignored, but X3 is just plain enigmatic. Released relatively late in the Super Nintendo's lifespan, it's able to take full advantage of the system's capabilities. It was also re-released on the PlayStation with redone music and anime cutscenes. The weapons admittedly aren't the best of the bunch, but they get points for being creative. X Smash! Man, that's cool. The stages are well designed, the Mavericks are some of the best in the series, even though most of them have sucky battles. The story's okay, and some of the secrets are killer. Gold armor? Yes, please. The Z-Saber? Heck, yes. And I mean, come on. Even if none of this appeals to you, playing as Zero is fun and satisfying, even if it's not as fun as X4. I realize X4 is a lot more underrated, but I personally like X3 more. And since this is a personal list, I'ma put it on. If you want more details on this game, I'd recommend checking out my X3 review. I talk way more in detail there. I don't care what anyone says. The critics can rave and the haters can point their fingers, but Super Princess Peach is freaking awesome. I don't get it. Why is this game so hated? People say this is a crappy, sexist game for little girls when it's simply not true. Sure, it's colorful and happy, and sure, Peach uses emotions for attacks. But hey, Yoshi's Island was colorful and happy, and people didn't hate it, and Peach's emotion attacks make for some really good level design. Sure, it's not the hardest game out there, but let me tell you, managing to 100% this game is quite the feat. I just don't understand why this game is treated as sexist trash. It really isn't. This is honestly one of the most well-designed Mario spin-offs there is. Fun levels, seriously cool power-ups, an action RPG style similar to Zelda 2 and Super Paper Mario. Awesome bosses, fun extras and minigames, and this game looks and sounds great. Nintendo obviously put a lot of effort into this game, and hey, it had a pretty sweet commercial for it too. If you love a good platformer, I'd highly recommend it. Don't listen to critics, listen to an actual gamer. This game is far from horrible. In fact, it's probably in my top 10 Mario spin-offs. Maybe I should do that sometime. Sometimes you don't want to judge a game by its cover, and other times the cover is all you need. But Kirby's Epic Yarn is both. Yeah, this is a pretty kiddie game, but like the title says, it is truly epic. Yeah, that's right, I used the E word, so what? To describe this game, you need it. I think one reason this game isn't appreciated as much as it should be is that this was a disappointment at E3 2010. Sure, we didn't get Kirby Wii, but we got Kirby Return to Dreamland and Mass Attack within the next year, and this was plenty to hold you over. We didn't get copy abilities, So, we got the epic transformations and plenty of other moves to play with. Too easy? Who friggin' cares? This game may be easy, but it is far from shallow. Secrets, achievements, and creativity of epic proportions make this an incredibly full game. Level design is brilliant, the bosses are genius, and oh man, the aesthetics. This game, simply put, is beautiful. The graphics are some of the best on the Wii, and the music is some of the best in the franchise. From peaceful to energetic to chaotic to epic, with most of the music being headed by the ever so versatile piano. This game shows how much creativity matters when making a game. Don't pass this game off as a pathetically easy romp for little kids. It's an epic adventure for all ages. Logan, you would be proud, because holy crap, I love Battle for Bikini Bottom. This is one of those games. A rare breed of game that's overlooked, given mediocre review scores, but has a staggering amount of quality. And hey, it's based off of one of the greatest cartoon shows of all time, before it started to suck. Battle for Bikini Bottom may seem like the standard 3D platformer, and yeah, it kind of is, but within the standard template is an enormous, creative monster of a game. Huge worlds, all based off a TV show, from the pineapple to the kelp forest. Tons of creative objectives to do. Some truly awesome boss battles like Spongebob Steel Pants and Robot Patrick, one of my favorite boss battles in history. Incredible writing using all of the show's major characters, even the Flash news reporter. There's also great music that sounds like it either came from the show, a spy flick, or the Terminator. You can play as SpongeBob, the master of all things bubbly, Patrick, the dense yet super strong sidekick, and Sandy, the karate mastering, rope swinging mammal from Texas. All of this wrapped up in a bow of, holy crap, this is a licensed game. In comparison to other 3D platformers, this is one of my favorite, up there with games like Super Mario Sunshine, Sonic Adventure 2, and Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. Speaking of which... the memories I have with this game. An overlooked gem on the GameCube, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg was created by Sonic's team while Sonic was dealing with guns and teamwork. It may seem kind of stupid, but get past this pastel colors, cheeseball story, and Circus Park 1, and all the complaints you could have with this game will fade away like the clips in my intro. The creativity in this game may not be quite as staggering as in Kirby's Epic Yarn, but man does it have a creative concept. You play as Billy, Raleigh, Bantam, and Chick, a few kids chosen by the Chicken God to save Morningland from the evil forces of the Crows and Dark Raven. How do you do this? By wearing the
magical chicken suit of the gods!
This gives you the power to use eggs scattered around the world as weapons. Inside these eggs can be prizes if you hatch them, such as power-ups, elemental animal buddies, and minigames playable via the GBA link cable. The game is full of several worlds, each containing a variety of missions to accomplish. The bosses may not be this game's crowning achievement, but they aren't that bad. The graphics are standard GameCube fare, and the music is brilliant, especially the boss theme. All in all, this is a spectacular game. Drug-induced? Maybe, but not bad at all. I've been awaiting a sequel for nearly a decade, Sega, so stop teasing with all these appearances and all these stupid crossover games and give the world some more magic from Morningland. You know, I don't get it. What makes modern Sonic so bad? Fine, Shadow isn't too spectacular and Secret Rings borders on intolerable at times, but what's so bad about Sonic Unleashed? The main day levels are fast and fun. Faster than any Sonic game before or since. I mean, geez, this is just... wow. I still have to question what running around in circles like this has to do with saving the world, though. But hey, if I could run this fast, I'd probably do stuff like this all the time, too. Then there's the night stages, where people start to get really whiny. Sure, Sonic has been slowed down and has to pummel his way through levels, but man, it's really fun. Tons of moves to unlock, really fun combat, and some interesting ways to use those new stretchy arms totally makes up for a speed drop. In fact, I prefer playing as the Werehog. Calm down, all you Dragonites, don't use Outrage quite yet. Sonic Unleashed also has incredible visuals, with special mention going to the opening cutscene. Fast, awesome music or dark, moodier music when appropriate, and by far some of the most fun boss battles in any Sonic game, with special mention going to the Dark Phoenix and Egg Dragoon. I'm glad people partially enjoyed this game, but I'd be even more glad if people could enjoy the whole thing rather than just part of it. Come on, people, see this game for what it really is, rather than just jumping on the biased bandwagon. Some people would say this game is no longer as underrated as it used to be. Sure, Shogi Conroy may have done a let's play of it, but his fanboys can only do so much. The hate towards this game from critics and gamers alike was crazy. This is far from terrible, Screw Attack. Far from terrible. Sure, the concept is weird, but a weird concept usually makes the best game. In this game, Luigi uses his flashlight and the Poltergeist 2000 to slurp, sloop, suck up ghosts. From a duo of dancers in a ballroom to a dumb, fatty, fireball spewing thing. The creativity is crazy, and hey, for a while this was the best Ghostbusters game there was. Some people say this was a disappointment. My rebuttal is, what did you expect? A platformer? Go and play any other Mario platformer of this generation. Chances are Luigi is a playable character. Yes, this is an incredibly short game, only a few hours long, and it's not too terribly hard either. But hey, fun is what matters, and man is this game fun. This is overall one of my favorite games, period. Not to mention Mario or the GameCube. My one problem, the single fault I can see in this game, is that the soundtrack isn't that impressive, only having a few tracks within it. But every single one of those tracks is awesome. If you really do find this game terrible, try it again with all this in mind. Who knows, you might just change your mind and find the true quality in this game. I'm going to say this now. Professor Layton is not an underrated series. Outside of America. In America, we're kinda stupid. When we usually see puzzle games like Layton, even when they're critically acclaimed, we pass them up. But these are more than just puzzle games. These are some of the most expertly crafted stories I've ever seen in any video game. No spoilers here, you have to play them yourselves. Speaking of playing them, these games may not feel exactly like games, but some of the puzzles are really involving, like the pancake stacks puzzles. Sure, most of the time it may just be sit back and watch, but man, it's very entertaining, and the plots are driving too. The presentation is by far the best on the DS. Hand-drawn environments and animations, orchestrated soundtracks, it's a beautiful thing, man. Now, if you look up sales charts and critic reviews, they aren't half bad. Sales are decent and reviews are usually in the 8 range, but that still doesn't protect this game's obscurity. Most people watching this probably haven't heard of this series unless you're a frequent viewer, and it's a crying shame. These may not be for everyone. These may not have the highest quality in the gameplay department, but these are more than worth your time simply for the experience. I may not make believers out of everyone, but I'm gonna try my hardest to get these games into the general public. And you know what would help? Putting him in Smash Brothers 4! I knew the minute I started to make this list what number 1 would be. Not even Luigi's Mansion's haters or Layton's obscurity could touch this game. What game do I speak of? Locke's Quest. Oh my goodness gracious alive. There has never been a single game I have played that has been so underrated. Sure, it may be an RTS, and those are far from for everyone, but considering the huge success of other strategy games like StarCraft 2, Plants vs. Zombies, and League of Legends, it's quite a surprise. Locke's Quest is made by 5th Cell. Chances are you've heard of them before, either from the semi-successful Drawn to Life series or the very popular Scribblenauts games. Yeah, those guys. Those creative geniuses made this very little known game. Something that baffles me even further about its failure on the market is that IGN, you know, one of the most frequented game reviewing sites there is, named this Game of E3 2008. You hear that? Game of E3! So how's this game as a game? Well, like I mentioned, it's an RTS, but it's a bit different than the usual RTS. In the game, there's phases of each day where you fight to defend or attack a certain target. For instance, there's the basic hold your ground missions, there are rescue missions, and there are also boss battle missions. These are just a few of the kinds of objectives in this game. There are also siege missions where you take control of a turret to defend the center town in the game, Antonia. This game also contains one of my favorite villains in all of gaming, Lord Agony. To not spoil anything, I'll just say this. He's intimidating, complex, and his true identity is shocking to say the least. Speaking of shocking, this game's story is simply masterful. So much happens in this game and it's a true sight to behold. I would talk about it, but I really couldn't go without spoiling something. That and I just want you all to play it. Now, I keep pointing out its minimal success on the market. Well, here's the thing. Worldwide, this sold 80,000 copies. This is one of the worst sales I have ever seen. I kid you not, this game is more rare than Earthbound. Thankfully, all you need is $20 and a trip to Amazon because this is an incredibly cheap game for being so rare. And what did the critics say? Not very much. it has pretty average reviews where you can find a review, and I think these factors, the quality, the rarity, and the low critical scores can merit it being #1 on this list. That is, if you ask me. Like I stated earlier, you can't factually gauge underrated unless you've played some of the rarest games in existence and know how to unbiasedly judge quality, and that's just not what this is. This is just one guy's opinion. All that being said, I'm the Tree's Apprentice, and Lost Quest is one of my top 10 favorite games of all time. And no, don't expect a top 10 Gabeels anytime soon. See y'all next time.